Hello there, you're watching Nightline. I'm Anita. News making the headlines. Malaysia sets new target of fully vaccinating 100% of adult population by October. And a record high of 153 COVID-19 fatalities on Sunday. New infections fall. We begin with our headlining story. All adults in Malaysia are expected to be fully vaccinated by October under a new immunisation target set by the government to stem the recent surge in COVID-19 cases. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin said the fast-track approach in the National COVID-19 Immunisation Programme, NIP, includes boosting the vaccination rate to 500,000 doses per day. In a Facebook post on Sunday, the Prime Minister said the government is aiming for 100% of the adult population in Selangor and Kuala Lumpur to be given at least one dose of the vaccine by August 1st under the Operation Surge capacity, whereas Sarawak is expected to hit this target by the end of August. He also said this as vaccination was the main key to the success in combating COVID-19, which is why the immunisation programme target date has been further sped up. Under the original schedule, 80% of the residents in Malaysia will get the full doses of vaccine by the first quarter of 2022. However, the target date was subsequently brought forward to December this year. Almost all states will record vaccination rates exceeding 50% by the end of August and 70% by September. Tan Sri Muhyiddin added the move was taken to tackle the emergence of new variants of the virus, which are more vicious and aggressive, as well as to curb the sharp increase in positive cases. A major portion of the vaccines ordered would be made up of Pfizer, with the remainder being made up of Sinovac, AstraZeneca and CanSino. To date, Malaysia has received 20 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines, and the country is expected to receive another 30 million doses by month end, as well as 40 million doses next month. Interstate travel approval letters issued by the Trade and Industry Ministry, or MITI, for business and work purposes are disallowed for 4 days effective Sunday, as certain individuals were found to have abused them to return to their hometowns for the upcoming AidilAdha holiday. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said a similar situation occurred during the Aidilfitri celebrations last May, which then triggered 36 COVID-19 clusters.
Untuk balik kampung ni, bukan sanggup bawa lori kerja pun untuk balik kampung. Akhirnya berlakulah kebanjiran balik kampung beratus-ratus ribu. Waktu itu dengan berbagai-bagai alasan termasuk surat kebenaran merentas negeri untuk bekerja. Akhirnya selepas raya kita lihat kes mendadak meningkat kerana kluster rentas negeri begitu tinggi. Mungkin kita boleh gunakan kecekapan kita untuk menipu pihak polis untuk balik ke kampung, lalu ikut jalan kebun kelapa sawit dan sebagainya. Tetapi you boleh tipu polis, tapi tak boleh tipu COVID.
Speaking to reporters after visiting the drive-through vaccination centre, PPV, at the Jempol District Office Hall in Bandar Seri Jempol, Negeri Sembilan on Sunday, Datuk Seri Ismail urged members of the public not to take their chances to try to cross districts or states for the upcoming holidays and take heed from the spike in COVID-19 cases. On Saturday, Inspector General of Police Datuk Seri Aqil Sani Abdullah Sani, in a statement, said police will not accept documents from MITI as a valid movement permit for the 4-day period from July 18th to 21st for interstate travel. This was due to an increased number of vehicles on the highways being detected over the past few days. Meanwhile, traffic conditions on most roads, including highways, have not shown significant change ahead of Hari Raya AidilAdha. Kuala Lumpur Traffic Investigations and Enforcement Department Chief ACP Zulkifli Yahya said traffic heading into and out of the city remained more or less unchanged, suggesting that there was no influx of city folk returning to their hometowns. He said checks showed the traffic on all roads, including some trunk roads, was still traffic-free. Zulkifli said he hopes that the traffic situation will remain this way for the next couple of days, with the majority of people staying home. He added that there may be some long congestions on certain roads due to the MCO roadblocks that have been erected around the city. Meanwhile, in Gombak, the traffic at the Gombak Toll Plaza in both directions is also smooth moving. In other news, individuals wishing to enter Kelantan need to show proof that they have tested negative for COVID-19 within 72 hours before beginning their journey. State Local Government Housing and Health Committee Chairman Dr. Izani Hussain said this ruling came into effect on Saturday. He also said the results of their swab tests should be attached together with the interstate travel application before submitting to the police, but such permission will only be granted for emergency cases as inter-district and interstate travel is still prohibited. Last Wednesday, the Kelantan state government was reported as saying that it had submitted a proposal to the National Security Council to compel individuals planning to travel to Kelantan to first pass a swab test as a measure to curb the spread of COVID-19. Meanwhile, Kelantan Health Department Director Dr. Zaini Hussain said health personnel would be stationed at the state's border entry points to screen travellers via antigen rapid test kits who did not manage to undergo the swab test. Meanwhile, individuals involved in interstate travel are not allowed to take part in AidilAdha prayers in Perlis on Tuesday. Raja Muda of Perlis, Tuanku Said Faizuddin Putra Jamalulail said the ban involved all those who travel interstate with permission or without permission, including those who commute to work daily. In a statement issued by the Perlis Islamic Affairs and Malay Customs Council, MITI, on Sunday, Tuanku Said Faizuddin, who is also MITI's president, said the family members of those who travel interstate are also prohibited from taking part in the prayers unless they have completed both doses of COVID-19 vaccine. He stressed that the mosque management has the right to reprimand and not allow the entry of congregation who do not comply with the standard operating procedures, SOPs. A total of 153 deaths from COVID-19 were recorded nationwide over the past 24 hours, the highest ever in a single day since the pandemic hit the country. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah, in a statement on Sunday, said 125 deaths involved locals, while the rest are non-citizens. The total number of fatalities in Malaysia now stands at 7,019. Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham also said new positive COVID-19 cases showed a decline, with 10,710 infections reported compared to 12,528 on Saturday. Selangor topped the list with 4,828 new cases, followed by Kuala Lumpur and Johor, which logged 945 and 808 cases respectively. This brings the total number of infections nationwide to 916,561, with 124,593 cases still active. He added 909 patients were placed in the intensive care units, ICUs, with 445 cases requiring breathing assistance. Out of the 17 new clusters, 10 are related to workplaces. 5,778 recovered cases were also reported, taking the total number of recoveries to 784,949. Only 80 members of parliament or MPs may be allowed to attend each session of the Dewan Rakyat sitting when it reconvenes for 5 days from July 26th. Deputy Dewan Rakyat Speaker Datuk Muhammad Rashid Hasnun said the matter will be finalised next week during a discussion between the Dewan Rakyat Committee and the respective chief whips of political parties. According to Datuk Muhammad Rashid, the proposal for only 80 MPs to attend each session is similar to the resolution taken during last year's sitting, in which of the 222 MPs, only 80 were allowed. The matters that will be tabled during the sessions will revolve around the COVID-19 pandemic. The MPs will also be allowed to ask questions, but the motion on enabling hybrid parliament sitting will not be tabled as they are allowed to sit as per usual. Datuk Muhammad Rashid, who is also Batu Pahat MP, said the committee will propose that each session be attended by 44 MPs from the government and 36 from opposition, noting that MPs could rotate among themselves to attend. The 5-day parliament sitting will be held from July 26th until 29th and on August 2nd and will last for 4 hours from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. In the meantime, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Parliament and Law, Datuk Sri Takyuddin said members of Parliament, MPs, may seek clarification and give their views during the special session of the Dewan Rakyat. He said the matter had been informed to all lawmakers through a special notice dated July 15th.
Dalam surat notis ni, yang mengatakan bahawa Tuan Yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat telah membenarkan Yang Berhormat untuk meminta penjelasan dan memberikan pandangan semasa penerangan daripada menteri-menteri diberikan. Jadi ini jelas menunjukkan bahawa dalam sidang ini ahli-ahli parlimen boleh mengambil bahagian, sama ada untuk mengemukakan soalan ataupun untuk memberikan pandangan, dan selepas daripada itu menteri-menteri ini ataupun pihak kerajaan akan menggulung.
Datuk Seri Takyuddin also said the claims by certain quarters that it will be one-sided explanations from the ministers and the MPs can only listen to the briefings are not true. Among the matters to be discussed at the special meeting are the proclamation of emergency on January 11th this year and the emergency ordinances to be tabled at the lower and upper houses of Parliament. Datuk Seri Takyuddin added that it will be up to the Speaker to decide on the method used for the discussion, such as the duration given to MPs and so on. Meanwhile, the Pakatan Harapan Presidential Council said it will not table any confidence motion against the Prime Minister in the upcoming special sitting of the Dewan Rakyat. As such, the pact urged the Perikatan National Government and Lower House of Parliament Speaker to provide space to the Member of Parliaments, MPs, for debate to take place during the Parliament proceedings. In a joint statement on Sunday, the coalition also said, in upholding the Yang di-Pertuan Agong's views that the Parliament sitting should reconvene as soon as possible, it had submitted a motion on matters involving the August House to the Dewan Rakyat Speaker on July 12th. The statement was signed by PKR President Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, Parti Amanah Negara President Muhammad Sabu and DAP Secretary General Lim Guan Eng. The Dewan Rakyat will only resume its regular session with debates and voting from September 6th. Lembaga Tabung Haji, TH, has given its assurance to some 8.3 million depositors on Sunday that its daily operations remain unaffected and it would strengthen its corporate governance to safeguard the interests of all its depositors, despite the probe into its management and operations. In a statement, TH said it would cooperate and take part in a study by the Prime Minister's Department, Finance Ministry and Bank Negara Malaysia following the setting up of a Royal Commission of Inquiry, RCI, to investigate issues arising from audits carried out by consultants from years 2014 to 2020. According to TH, 6 proposals were outlined, which among all include recommending that the absolute rights of Hajj management and operations will remain with the institution, adding that it would also recommend that all deposits under Section 24 of the Tabung Haji Act 1995 to remain intact for the benefit of depositors. TH said it would continue to improve and strengthen its operations and administration to safeguard the interests of depositors, even during the investigation by the RCI. It said TH is on the right track with a stronger and stable financial position and pledged it will provide a reliable service to its depositors in which 80% of its transactions were done online. The government has also proposed to improve the overall management and operations of TH, which will involve proposals for a new operation model and a review to amend the Tabung Haji Act 1995. It called for a joint comprehensive study to evaluate the new operating model, which should take into account TH's existing capacities, including assets, liabilities and human resources expertise. TH further stressed that the aspects of its administration, integrity and reputation as an Islamic financial institution are extremely important to ensure that the confidence and interests of the people remain with the Pilgrims Fund. Up next on Nightline, police seize 1.2 million ringgit worth of cannabis. There's some more news when we return.
Besar impaknya.
Pantas menampilkan
prosiding ini secara keuangan maya.
Berita di jari. Subscribe YouTube Buletin TV3.
Welcome back, still on Nightline. Police seized 494 kilograms of cannabis worth about 1.2 million ringgit in an operation near Wakaf Baru, Kelantan on Saturday night. State Deputy Police Chief SAC Abdullah Muhammad Piah, in a press conference on Sunday, said a police patrol team spotted a man acting suspiciously while driving a sports utility vehicle, SUV, at 9:50 p.m. in Kampung Pasir Putih. When police ordered the suspect to pull over, he sped off and a chase ensued for about 5 kilometres before the SUV crashed into an irrigation canal in Kampung Lambor and the driver escaped with the help of a passing motorcyclist.
Setelah kita buat pemeriksaan dalam kereta CRV Honda tadi, kita telah menjumpai 12 bungkusan plastik hitam yang di dalamnya mengandungi 494 ketul mampat daun kering disyaki daun kering tadi disyaki ganja. Jadi setiap satu ketul mampat tersebut seperti yang tuan-tuan lihat ini seberat dalam anggaran 1 kilogram. Jadi harga 1 kilogram ganja sekarang ialah RM2,500 dan harga kesemua ganja ni tadi dalam anggaran RM1,235,000.
Authorities believe the cannabis was brought into the state from a neighbouring country using the illegal jetties located along the state border. The drugs were also meant to be distributed in the Klang Valley and its surrounding areas and could cater to about 988,000 addicts. Police later arrested the 25-year-old motorcyclist who helped the suspect to escape to assist investigations under the Dangerous Drugs Act. An early morning drug-fueled party was cut short after 28 revellers, including 12 women, were nabbed by police during a raid at a luxury apartment in Kuala Lumpur on Sunday. The operation was conducted at the 36th floor residential unit at Jalan Pudu upon receiving a tip-off. City CID Deputy Chief ACP Nasri Mansor said the suspects, aged between 27 and 63, were celebrating a woman's birthday at the event organised by her husband. Police also found ketamine believed to be consumed by some of the guests who were invited by the husband and friends of the wife. One of the rooms was turned into a dance floor equipped with disco lighting. Authorities also found condoms at the premises believed to be used by the party-goers. Based on the urine test done, 7 men and 4 women tested positive for drugs. Action was also taken against the unit owner and the residents' management for allowing the party to be held during the Enhanced Movement Control Order, EMCO. A Selangor State Assemblyman was among 29 individuals detained for allegedly encroaching into the Ulu Jelai Forest Reserve near Lipis Pahang on Sunday. Initial investigations revealed the group, who were taken to the Sungai Koyan police station, had entered the forest reserve without permission at about 11 a.m. on Saturday to allegedly provide food supplies to the Orang Asli at Pos Lenjang. Police are investigating if the group had obtained an interstate travel permit and are conducting a probe under the National Forestry Act for failing to obtain a permit to enter the forest reserve. In Johor, an assistant manager pleaded not guilty in the Kota Tinggi Sessions Court to a charge of posting offensive remarks on social media. 29-year-old Muhammad Arif Ahmad made the plea after the charge was read out to him before Judge 1 Muhammad Nuri Shamwan Yaakob, who set bail at 8,000 ringgit in one shorty and fixed August 22nd for mention. The accused allegedly made and initiated the transmission of the offensive communications with intent to annoy others through Twitter on October 25th, 2020. Elsewhere in Kelantan, an Indonesian woman was sentenced to 12 months in prison by the Jeli Magistrates Court for using the identity card of a local citizen to get vaccinated. Magistrate Muhammad Nasruddin Muhammad handed down the sentence on 36-year-old Yannick Setia Pratiwi after she pleaded guilty to committing the offence under the National Registration Act to obtain 2 COVID-19 vaccine shots on June 13th and July 4th. In the same court, the accused husband, 59-year-old Amiruzaman Abdul Rahman, a local, was also fined 2,000 ringgit and default 6 months imprisonment on each count for abetting his wife at the same place and time. Coming up after this break, heavy rains trigger landslides in Mumbai. The details right after this. Don't go away.
Besar impaknya.
Pantas menampilkan prosiding ini secara dan keuangan maya.
Berita di jari. Subscribe YouTube Buletin TV3.
We're now back with news on the foreign front. In India, the death toll from a landslide and houses collapsing following the heavy rains in Mumbai rose to at least 25 on Sunday, with 6 others injured. According to authorities, 18 of the dead were killed after a retaining wall collapsed in New Bharatnagar in Mahul, and 5 more deaths were reported in Vikhroli after a few huts collapsed in Suryanagar. 1 more person died in a wall collapse in Bandup, while another was electrocuted in Andheri West. As many as 11 incidents of wall houses collapsing and landslides, 13 short-circuit incidents, tree falling in 9 areas were reported between Saturday night and Sunday morning. It is understood that 45 houses have been affected by the landslide and at least 6 to 8 people are feared to be trapped in the rubble. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in the meantime, expressed grief over the deaths and announced financial assistance of $47,000 for the families of the deceased and $600 for those injured in the incidents. Meanwhile, the death toll from flooding in Western Europe climbed above 180 on Sunday after rescue workers dug deeper into debris left by receding waters. Although rain has stopped in the worst affected areas of Germany, Belgium and the Netherlands, storms and downpours have persisted in other parts of Western and Central Europe. Chancellor Angela Merkel was due to visit Schuld, a village near Ahrweiler that was devastated by the flooding, later on Sunday. At least 144 people have died in Germany, whereas Belgium has confirmed 27 casualties. European leaders have blamed the extreme weather on climate change. Thailand announced an expansion of COVID-19 restrictions that include travel curbs, mall closures and a nighttime curfew to 3 more provinces after the country reported a 3rd consecutive day of record case numbers. An announcement in the Royal Gazette on Sunday said people living in Chonburi, Ayutthaya and Chachoengsao provinces will not be allowed to go outside unless necessary from Tuesday onwards. Shopping malls will be closed and a 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. curfew will be imposed, while checkpoints will be set up to prevent people from travelling outside their provinces. Bangkok and 9 other provinces have already been under these restrictions. The country reported 11,397 infections and 101 deaths on Sunday, the vast majority from an outbreak since early April that is being fueled by the highly transmissible Alpha and Delta COVID-19 variants.
Besar impaknya.
Pantas menampilkan prosiding ini secara keuangan maya.
Berita di jari. Subscribe YouTube Buletin TV3.
We now take a look at some of the highlights of Malaysia's main newspapers from Monday, July 19th. The New Straits Times focuses on the festive crackdown where enforcement against interstate travel is stepped up, with MITI documents no longer accepted. Whereas Harian Metro features a report on the smuggling of ivermectin pills believed to be effective against COVID-19. Berita Harian highlights the Prime Minister's promise to ensure that all adults will be fully vaccinated by October. And finally, an article on fashion, textile and apparel businesses that are on the verge of ending their businesses take the front page in the Malaysian Reserve. Get your copies or subscribe to the online newspaper. That's it for Nightline this time around, but over in the USA, 12-year-old Brazilian skateboarder Guy Curry set an amazing new standard at the X Games in Vista, California, USA on Friday as he landed a 1080, a maneuver that nobody has been able to complete in competition before on a non-mega ramp. He also became the youngest gold medalist in the X Games history and beating 8 other entrants, including his idol, 53-year-old skateboarding legend Tony Hawk. Let's take a look. With that, I'm Anita. Thank you for tuning in and be well, Malaysia.